So this is sort of interesting considering the names and the topic involved. In the offseason, Caitlin Clark did a lot of training clearly in the weight room, put on some muscle, and that was a big viral thing going into the year, right? A lot of excitement around Caitlin Clark's arms and the like. Specifically, that photo there exploded all over social media. And then even in the midst of games, I remember they put the graphic on the screen. Breakout search. Caitlin Clark muscles was a breakout search during the broadcast. So a lot of the criticism of Clark bulking up was retroactive. Really, it wasn't in the moment. Generally, it was at the time. It was more like, "Oh, league, look out! League, look out!" And I was part of that too. So I'm not mocking anybody specifically. I'm just trying to set the context and the tone for the conversation. Well, the player in the NBA that Clark is most often compared to, Steph Curry, because of her distance shooting. There's a lot of other comparisons for Clark that I've brought up in the past. I mean, I think she throws outlets like Jason Kidd. I think her pro dribbles are more like Steve Nash than anybody else. She plays or has played as a heliocentric offensive engine, do it all. LeBron, Luca, those kind of players. But Steph Curry, of course, his ability to shoot the ball, it was what captured imaginations. And Steph was on with LeBron James and Steve Nash on the Mind the Game podcast. One quick note before I play what was said about the bulk aspect. LeBron did make specific mention that Steph is hardest to guard or the hardest to deal with when he's not on the ball, which is worth putting a pin in because, there's been so much conversation about Clark on the ball or off the ball, but how much you have to be aware and worry about a player like Steph when he's off the ball is worth noting in this conversation as well. And that is something LeBron James, who knows what he's talking about, brought up on the show, specifically in reference to Curry's gravity. But here are the comments that people have tied into Caitlin Clark and the conversation that took place.
They're told to put on weight or they're told to put on strength, and it can affect their shot. And it's actually, there's no way it could have made it better. But shit, it seems like nothing ever changed. How was that? Like, did that worry you in the beginning? Like, oh shit, y'all tell me I got to get stronger.
Funny story. So my rookie year in training camp, so I came in as a shooter in the draft. But Don Nelson was my coach, and going through training camp, summer league started. I think I probably shot like low 30s from three in summer league. And then you're coming into training camp, a couple months later, like still working, getting through, trying to get comfortable with where shots are coming from. And Don Nelson, he went in the weight room, because to your point, I came in 180 pounds maybe. They're trying to get me in the weight room, doing all these lifts and stuff. I'm shooting like trash in training camp like the first week. He walked in there and cussed out everybody in the room. It was like, he needs to be killing the shot. He's lifting too much weight. And to me, I didn't know that as a concept, because I always just want to get stronger. Like most of it was just vanity. Like, hey, man. I just wear the jersey, get all these mirrors around here. Y'all tell me I gotta look like this. I'm trying to like pop. Like, give me something. But I didn't even think about it in terms of shot. I know that there's a range of like body composition that matters to making sure everything moves right. So if you're doing a big transformation, you can't change how your body moves. I never thought I could get to that point, but then when he called it out, I was like, wait, are they really messing up my shot? But that balance of being able to appropriately get your body to move efficiently, like a lot of to me is core strength. Like if we're talking specifics, everything's about the foundation. Like how does your body move through that range where you have complete control of your movement patterns, not necessarily like brute strength, but efficiency and stability.
So the end of what he said there is the most interesting to me. People are going to break this down to the most simple, takeaway. Like you put on muscle, you can't shoot. Not true, right? Like, yeah, you don't want to lift. I mean, I never liked lifting right before I shot, but this is not just about like getting bigger, because Curry was a pretty skinny kid at Davidson. And now, he's put on plenty of muscle himself. We're not talking about somebody who didn't bulk up as an NBA player. Curry definitely put on mass throughout his NBA career, and he's not some skinny player out there. He has strength behind what he's doing. So it's not simply just like never mass, or never add mass. But what he said about changing the way you move, the biomechanics, that's the most interesting thing to me. And I think with the litany of injuries that Caitlin Clark suffered, that would be the most common sense concern about what could have changed. Now, it could have just been bad luck. We'll see. We know that Fever are hiring a new person as a physical development staff type of person to come in. And I'm not a doctor. I did meet minor in kinesiology in college, and I've been to a lot of physical therapy, and it is a topic that interests me. So I'm not like a complete ignoramus when it comes to it, but I can't sit here and tell you with authority that whatever Caitlin Clark did in the offseason ruined her. I mean, you could look at her jump shot and the fact she went through that extended slump and everybody tried to hold that against her. I don't think really personally that had anything to do with the mass. To me, that had much more to do with the base. She was hurt. She was hurt. The quad got hurt in the preseason, and then the quad got hurt in the regular season, and then the groin got hurt. It's hard to be as efficient, to shoot as well when you're dealing with injuries, when you are not shooting as confidently, when your form is off. And that gets back to the basics, or the base that Steph Curry talked about, which is if anything changed in the movement pattern, in the biomechanics, in the way that she was running, and that led to the kinetic chain, the chain of events that caused the injuries. That would be the concern. And I'm sure when Caitlin Clark went to see all those specialists around the second groin injury, that's something that everybody looked into. Now, the good news is she has so much time to adjust. She had the ankle, which seems much more freak than everything else. Like, that was the real, like, oh, come on, to turn the ankle on the way back. But if she is getting back on the floor, or did at the end of October, which was her target date, and, obviously assuming the Team USA basketball is the next target in March, that's still a good chunk of time to get everything right. And then the WNBA season doesn't even start, of course, until next May. So there is plenty of time to get that correct. When it comes to the criticism, or people just they need something to blame when they feel discomfort about something, and nobody's happy with the way Caitlin Clark's season went. It's like, we got to blame somebody. So it's easy to see Steph Curry say that and latch onto it. But I don't think it's that simple. I don't think it's that simple where you say it's this training staff person, or it's this coach, or it's that weight. I'm not saying it wasn't, perhaps improperly managed at times, or I'm not saying there wasn't a cause and effect, or at least a correlation between what she did between her first season and her second season that could have led to the myriad of injuries, or the fact that maybe her mechanics were off. I don't know. So I'm not saying that isn't possible. I'm just saying it isn't as simple as lift weight, bad, right? Like, and that I think seems to be a little bit of the takeaway from Curry's comments that have reignited the Caitlin Clark bulk debate. But every player coming from college and getting older and getting set for the pros and continuing their career does tend to put on a little weight, in the good way.